And that was Leah Veenhuizen with her track Midnight from her 2015 album Blood. We've come to the well-being section of the show, and I am very excited to be talking about meditation with my next guest, Jason Partington. Jason is a performance, meditation and mindset coach, and he's the founder of Meditation HQ Community. Jason, welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Leah.
I guess we start off with the question which I like to ask a lot of people who are on the show. What brought you to meditation in the first place, Jason?
Oh, I'm not sure about it was kind of thrust upon me, actually. I was, I'm from Adelaide, and I, got to about the age of 28, and we had kind of a bit of a footy culture, very conservative parents, and I guess I got to a point at around 28 where, I felt quite disconnected. I didn't really have any sort of understanding of my inner world at all, and was really going on, social stereotypes about what it was to be a man, and and what is fulfillment and what is success and what is happiness in life. And I wasn't getting any of that, to be honest. I was sort of going down these sort of tracks of, leaning into alcohol and drugs and just other avenues in order to be able to, feel happiness in moments. But it all came from a state of feeling disconnected and not knowing, and not having any sort of relationship with myself, pretty much. So that sort of prompted some pretty, unhealthy kind of activities, which, lead you down all sorts of, paths as well of, depression, anxiety and unhappiness and isolation and all those sort of things as well. So I was very fortunate because a very close friend of mine, really picked up and saw what was happening and, could see the path that I was on. And, I think, particularly men, often find it hard to talk about these sort of things. I know that I did at the time or couldn't wordsmith it. And so we often, go to a point of really breaking before we look up and look for help. And that was certainly the case with me. I reached a kind of a point, and I was really, like I said, I was really fortunate. I had a friend, a very close friend of my wife who's been doing meditation all of her life. And she pretty much took me by the hand and said, "Hey, listen, you've got to do this 4-week course because otherwise I don't know where you're going to end up." So, yeah, it was a real rescue, and I did this 4-week course, which was a transcendental meditation, and it was a fairly sort of intense course for 4 weeks. And to be honest, I've never looked back ever since. It was a turning point.
I feel like most people come to meditation in that instance. It's very interesting when it's brought to you. I was brought to meditation from my father, which was when I was about sort of 20, and I was coming to a point where I had to have major surgery, and Dad said, "Listen, you've got to really make sure that you've got your head right going into all of this," and took me to the Gawler Foundation, and we did a course, which I think it's just so important to, if you do see someone in your life struggling and needing help, to speak up. I think that's sort of what you've just said, which is amazing that your wife, sort of took you by the hand and did that for you. It's such a caring thing to do, and so lovely that that sort of has taken you to that meditation space. Would you say that, what would you say is the most important part of meditation for mental health? Would you say it's the stillness, or how would you describe that?
I think, well, if I just sort of, talk into our lives as we live it now, when you think about, how our lives have shifted over the last, say 2 decades in terms of technology and the amount of screen-facing time that we have, we've really changed as a society. We've, I remember my youth where, I spent all of my youth outside pretty much doing sport and doing, sitting at the table talking with parents and things like that. And you consider how much technology has taken the place of, connection type activities, whether that be connection with yourself, connection with the earth, connection with others. It's been replaced by technology and screen time. And it's not the only issue, but it is a big issue, I think. And so, meditation for me really serves as an opportunity to create an opportunity to be able to have an inward, a time where you can connect inwardly, to just be and be in a state of awareness and focus on the simple things. And it's a very nurturing thing to do for yourself. So, and many people come to meditation for various different reasons. So, some people come just purely for a sense of relaxation and stillness and, to release out of, things like anxiety and, come to a position of calm. Whereas other people come to meditation as a more spiritual, activity to connect with their higher self, or that type of goal. And they're all, and there's a myriad of different, reasons in between wanting to do it in between those. So whether it's a mental health type activity which is serving you and nurturing you, or whether it's a connection type thing, which is about you connecting with yourself and your soul and your spirit, or whatever that might be. And even if you didn't have a reference point for somewhat of a spiritual goal, it could even be as simple as coming from your head and into your heart. Like just coming out of the logic side and actually coming into the feeling side. So there's so many different benefits and avenues. There's there is, I don't think, nothing in my world that gives such a powerful impact in so many different areas of my life from such a small investment in time. And I think that's the benefit of meditation and the impact that it can have in the mental health space, because particularly over the last decade or so, mental health has really taken a front seat in terms of conversations around what we're doing about it, and how much of an issue it is. And meditation can just there's when we had COVID, which really escalated all these sort of things. There was all of these. I know myself. There was all these sort of men's groups which came out about men talking with men and opening up conversations and speaking authentically and speaking vulnerability and those sort of things with vulnerability. But one of the things that I like about meditation is it's something that you can facilitate yourself. It's something that you can do by yourself. You don't need somebody else. And it gives you immediate relief, and it gives you immediate a sense of connection. And, a lot of things around mental health can lead to isolation and make you feel like you're alone. And so this is something that can be done behind closed doors, that you don't need to reach out to speak to somebody. You can do something to nurture yourself. And that's why I love it as a skill and a practice, because if you're doing it daily, then you really are feeding that connection that you have with yourself, and it has an outbound benefit, in the way you feel. We're doing some studies at the moment as part of a big event that we're holding right now with the University of Sydney and UTS, which is, really studying the benefits of meditation with mental health, and we're about to release a research study around that, which is, I've already seen the report, and it is outstanding in terms of the facts that meditation is absolutely a powerful personal practice that can lead to a sense of calm and connection.
Speaking of connection, I just looking through all of Meditation HQ's website and just having a read on yourself and the community, you talk about that connection to community and how this has brought you into a kind of sphere, I guess, of connection with other people and spreading the word about meditation. Do you mind just talking to how Meditation HQ came about in the first place? And I speak because I'm doing the meditation challenge through Meditation HQ at the moment, which is the 100 Meditations Challenge, and it's representing, or it's raising funds for Lifeline, who are a friend of the show. And I would love for the community to hear about your story coming to coming to fruition with Meditation HQ, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, it's a powerful story, and actually, when I relive it, it's powerful for me even talking into it. And so I used to live in Avalon Beach, which is in part of the northern beaches of Sydney, and it's a beautiful area. And about 5 years ago, in 2018, 2019, we were going through a real mental health epidemic, and in particular in our local government area. We lost 33 people to suicide just in that little local government area. And everyone in our suburb and in our area knew someone or was related to someone that has suicided or passed, and was affected, and it was happening. Fortunately, unfortunately, we've got a beautiful area where people choose to take their life, and our particular suburb was it was really in trauma because it was happening literally every one to 2 weekends, whether you would hear the helicopter followed by an ambulance followed by a police car, and you would just know that it had happened again. And then everyone would take to socials and work out who was it. And so it was a very bad time. And living in that area, so there was a community group that facilitated a meeting at the local surf club, and they wanted to speak to men because we're losing 9 people a day in Australia to suicide, and 7 of those are men. So they really wanted to talk to men in our area and to understand, and so they facilitated this meeting group at in our local surf club. And I remember walking in early and wanted to meet the facilitators, and they laid out about 30 seats, and they said, how many people are you expecting? I was like, we're not sure. But, there was about 30 seats there, and 300 men turned up with their sons, and there were, men who had lost their sons who recalled exactly what occurred, and there was not a dry eye in that place, and that meeting facilitated several organisations that happened, including ours, that went into massive action in order to how can we fix this situation? How can we not just talk about it anymore? How can we facilitate change? How can we make a difference here? And so one of the things that I was sitting there, and it was like one of those sort of shining light moments. It was kind of like where I felt I have the tools. I've been meditating for over 20 years here, and I know that it's helped me massively. Yet, hardly any of the guys in this room meditated. They did a bit of I asked a question in the room, how many meditators here? And there was like 3, 4. And so I was like, how is this possible? We've got this really powerful practice that can really help people, but nobody's doing it. So I took it upon myself to go and ask myself the question, which was, okay, why are people not coming towards it? And the answer was resoundingly that people felt that it wasn't for them, or it was either too spiritual, or it wasn't available in a way or accessible where they found it easy to approach and easy to do it. They didn't want to do the whole spiritual la kind of hold hands thing or whatever, they didn't want to go down that track. And so we repackaged it in a way which was super accessible, So what we thought that we'd do, we've created this a charity which is now called Meditation HQ. But the whole process of it was to let's package up local community meditation in a way that nobody's ever seen it before. So like really super accessible by people who are really practical. Let's make it free on beaches to begin with, and every Saturday, and we'll facilitate it with 3 or 4 leaders. And I started the first one, and we got 2 people, 3 people. Then it became 30. Then it became 50. Then we had 100. And then all of a sudden we were like, wow. Now other locations started, and then we're at about 15 locations now, and we're about to head inland. So we're about to do our first regional site. So that's exciting. So yeah, like we wanted to package it up in a way to make it super accessible for people just to walk up and do it for free. And what's happened as a result of it is there's been it's become a calling point where people come to. It magnetises people there. And, now people go for swims and they've got social things off of it. And, I think we're going to have our first wedding soon. People that came and met each other at meditation. But, like we've created community that feels safe, that can be who they want to be. They don't have to, pretend. And they just come down and connect with other people, and they don't have to speak if they don't want, and they just come and sit and appreciate nature and breathe if they want to breathe. If they don't have to, you don't even have to meditate if you don't want. You can just sit there and watch the ocean. But it's that connection where people can connect to themselves, connect to others, and connect to nature. And there's the ability to do all 3 or just one of them, whatever you want. So yeah,
it's I keep. And you have to. I have to apologise just for 1 minute. My first show was on loneliness, Jason, and I keep coming back to that, which is that there's always a point of connection for everybody, and that you've just got to find that connection that kind of helps you thrive, whether it's meditation, whether it's cold plunging down at the beach. There is always something out there for you to be connecting to other people, which is just amazing that you're creating that connection for people in that respect. Are you in other states, or are you only in New South Wales at the moment?
Yeah, we launched one in South Australia. We've got one in Perth as well, and we're about to release in Queensland. So, we're slowly releasing them, bit by bit. As we get, slowly more funding and those sort of things, then we'll release them in more locations. I mean, our big goal was always to start on the periphery and then work inwardly. We have a big desire to want to have this in country regional areas where there's not that accessibility, to this kind of type of stuff normally.
And speaking of accessibility, how do people find you, Jason? What's the website, and how do people make contact with you if they want to reach out and join Meditation HQ?
There's a couple of different points at the moment. So you could go to Meditation HQ and just search the community in the menu. So we've got like a community section there, which has got all the locations listed. At the moment, we're also, as you know, we're doing our event this month, which is called 1 Million Meditations. So that is a fundraiser for Lifeline, and we're only, it goes until the 21st of May. We're only on the 7th of May, and you can join at any time. And it basically gives you a different guided meditation every day. And then you get to experience. So by the time you get to the 21st of May, which is World Meditation Day, you get to experience a whole range of different styles and types and different kind of guided leaders, and you might pick maybe 3 or 4 that become favourites, and some that you say, well, that's not for you. So it's a really good opportunity of doing this and experiencing it. And if you feel called to, you can also donate to Lifeline if you wish, but you don't have to. There's that event as well. So it's 1millionmeditations.org, or just head to the website, which is meditationhq.com.au.
Beautiful. I don't know. I think we could talk for so long about this topic. I feel like I say this to all of my guests. So I will get you back to talk further on meditation and the benefits of it at some stage. I'm sure we'll touch base. Jason, thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you all the very best with getting Meditation HQ out, hopefully to Victoria soon.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. It's been lovely chatting with you, and I'd love to come back.
Cheers. Thanks so much.